Sometimes it's just more fun to play games with friends. Even amazing campaigns that can still be enjoyed in single player just can't compete with the chaos and fun that comes from turning it into a co-op experience. Some of the games on this list I would recommend to only play in co-op, as single player just isn't as good, and some of these I might just lump together as a franchise. This is my personal list of the games, I've personally played, so I'm sure everyone's list has different games on it. With that said, without further delay, let's get started.
Your stupidity may have doomed the universe.
Wouldn't be the first time, sweetheart.
All the Ultimate Alliance games and the X-Men Legend games. Some of these games go back 20 years and still remain today some of the best co-op games you can play. Sadly, almost all of them are not playable on current gaming hardware. These games are action role-playing dungeon crawler games. Players can choose a team up to 4 characters. You can unlock more, that you can choose from as you progress the game. Cooperative play features a refined combat system and the ability to interact with your friends or non-player characters for team-up attacks. Do you remember that scene from Avengers where Iron Man shoots his lasers at Captain America's shield? Yeah, it was from the Ultimate Alliance games. Sadly, the only game today playable on new hardware is Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Switch, exclusive because Nintendo published it. I'm dying for any of these games to have a resurgence and have some new games made with online play, but I highly doubt it.
These next tests require cooperation. Consequently, they have never been solved by a human.
Portal 2. When Valve actually makes games, boy do they usually deliver. The original Portal is a certified puzzle platforming classic. The orange and blue portals are an iconic image that anyone can recognize, and that whole ending's credit Cake is a Lie song was meme-worthy for years afterwards. So they took that success and made Portal 2. Unlike the main story of Portal 2, which saw Shell once again deal with Gladys, with newcomer robot Wheatley thrown into the mix, the co-op portion of the game saw Gladys testing 2 robots in a variety of new chambers. Functionally, the game is exactly the same as the main campaign, with the added bonus of having to work out these puzzles with a friend. This is a make or break friendship kind of game. Some of these puzzles are real head scratchers, but when you and a friend finally figure it out together, there's nothing better in a co-op game.
I saved you. And I'm here to save you again.
Baldur's Gate 3. Arguably the best game on this list, and maybe in the past decade, so no one can deny the popularity Baldur's Gate 3 had on the gaming community. The casual streaming community especially. I saw so many streamers and VTubers alike who would never touch one of these games gravitate towards it because of word of mouth of how good it was, and the fact you can play it in co-op with up to 3 other friends. While this game is exceptional without co-op, there's no denying how much fun you can have with your friends and their custom characters, coordinating where to go first, which enemies to attack and how, but the only downside is when the more friends you play with, you never get to bring the amazing cast of characters with you to advance their friendships and relationships. So if you're looking for a turn-based strategy game to go around exploring, this amazing world together, then look no further than here. But if you want to make advancing those relationships a bit easier by winning approval points, then maybe try to play with only 1 or 2 other people so you can cycle in some of the companions now and then.
We're travelers. Going miles through mud and muck.
Ghost Recon Wildlands. While I did also really enjoy The Division in co-op, not The Division 2, sadly, as you can't try the missions on hard difficulty right away, so the game is mind-numbingly too easy. And Breakpoint, the damn game's fog of war can't be cleared in a helicopter, so you gotta be on the ground all the time. But Wildlands hit that perfect sweet spot to playing with friends. The premise is this. You're part of a 4-man special forces team dropped in the middle of a cartel-ruled Bolivia. Your mission is to dismantle the cartel and take them down. You are dropped into a very big open world with various objective markers and missions. As you complete them, you take out the bosses, then the underbosses, then you go and you try to take out the big boss. You are very free to choose which missions to do and where to go. Side missions help unlock additional abilities like being able to call in support or have some NPC deliver a vehicle of your choice to you. You can stealth most situations if you want, or just go in guns blazing and wipe out a whole base in a minute. The game is 100% made to be played in co-op. I just don't see how anyone can enjoy this kind of game playing solo. Sadly, the sequel, Breakpoint, didn't live up to the hype to me and my friends, so if a third game does get made, I hope it's more in line with Wildlands.
Yeah, me too, kiddo.
Destiny and Destiny 2. While I am not as much an avid Destiny player as I used to be, 8 years or so has pretty much burned me out at the moment, but I'll jump back in eventually. But it was damn good 8 years of playing with my friends. When Bungie separated from Microsoft and Halo and they wanted to do their own thing, I never would have guessed they'd go the route of like an MMO kind of game. Basically, a shared world shooter. You have your hubs and different worlds to explore, competing in PvE, PvP, with events all over the place, raids to complete with friends, story missions, grind killing enemies over and over looking for higher level light loot to level up your hunter, warlock, or titan. The games have been genre changing for the industry, and I can't wait to see what Bungie does next. Whether that's continually, expanding Destiny 2 even further than they've done over the years, or maybe even eventually making a Destiny 3.
They're changing.
God damn it, Bill! Oh, it stinks!
Left 4 Dead. Back-to-back Valve games, and sadly 2 we will never see another from either, as Valve has some weird aversion to the number 3. No Half-Life 3, no Portal 3, no Left 4 Dead 3. It's crazy. Left 4 Dead has 1 to 4 players, and the objective is to pass through a level to find the next save room, which acts as a save point and temporary respite. Zombie swarms can come out of nowhere with special zombie types with different abilities to throw a wrench into your trek from safe room to safe room. You have to manage ammo, inventory items like Molotov cocktails and pipe bombs, and by the end of the level, your call for help, hunker down, and try your best to survive the endless onslaught of zombies until rescue comes. Left 4 Dead 2 greatly expands on all of this with new weapons and enemy types, but I will always hold a special place in my heart for the first game. Shame that the spiritual sequel, Back 4 Blood, introduced some weird card game system in it, and badly bombed because of it. Maybe one day we'll get that Left 4 Dead 3, but knowing Valve and the number 3, I wouldn't hold my breath.
And it will all make perfect sense.
Show yourself!
Resident Evil 5 and 6. Another one on this list where I'm lumping 2 games together. See, Resident Evil 4 is one of the best games of all time, so trying to follow that up was an almost impossible task. 5 and 6 get a lot of hate for pivoting more in the action direction, and playing solo with the AI and having to manage their inventory is never fun. I would rank these games kinda low in a Resident Evil tier list personally. However, playing these games in co-op with a friend elevates them to such a high level that they can even rival Resident Evil 4 to me. They are just so damn fun to play in co-op that whenever you put these in your personal tier list, you gotta add an asterisk next to it and raise it up at least 2 tiers for co-op only.
I have a rendezvous with death at some disputed barricade.
Gears of War. Gears has been one of the Xbox's premier franchises for nearly 20 years, just like Halo, and to me, on par with it when it comes to its co-op offerings. Even with my dislike of Gears 5, the campaign going slightly open world, there's just no denying this series is more fun with a friend. Just like Marcus and Dom's Brotherhood, this third-person shooter franchise will forge some strong bonds with your friends, especially on the insane difficulty. Co-op also gives each player a unique experience, as sometimes you have to separate and can only help by shooting across ravines or laying down cover fire as you drive out on a jeep while your friend is shooting down from above with the hammer of dawn from high up. There's nothing that beats Gears co-op gameplay.
What's your plan?
It's my plan, and I decide what goes down.
A Way Out and It Takes Two. I'm going to lump both of Hazelight Studio games together for this, as they are both incredible co-op games. Unlike the others on this list so far, they are 100% required to be played in co-op and cannot be played in single player. The coordination you need to have with your partner is engraved into the very DNA of each of these games. Let's start with A Way Out first. Can you believe it's been 6 years since this game came out? The story of two criminals, Leo and Vincent, who meet in prison and attempt a jailbreak in order to enact a shared revenge on a criminal overlord. A Way Out blends cooperative gameplay and storytelling together, making for one hell of a ride with twists and turns around every corner. While the game is on paper an action-adventure game, the game is also, always throwing new mechanics and gameplay sequences at you to keep things fresh. Split-screen co-op is also different than online co-op. See, in split screen, a bunch of the things that you're doing, you can see what the other player is also doing. If you're playing online, you can only see your perspective and are left wondering what your friend is doing unless they tell you. This is either a friendship forming game or a friendship destroying game, depending on how well you can handle being beaten at Connect 4.
Are you ready for the roller coaster ride of your life? No!
And now it takes two. The 2021 Game of the Year winner at the Game Awards, this game tells the story of a married couple on the verge of divorce, transformed into small dolls and forced by a sentient book turned love guru to find what brought them together in the first place. It Takes Two is the perfect co-op game for couples, testing their teamwork, coordination, and communication skills with a series of platforming challenges and puzzles. Each world the player visits throws a new mechanic into the mix that gives each player their own powers and abilities, ensuring that different playthroughs for both players. In one world, one player has a hammer and the other player has nails. In another, one player has the positive magnet and one player has the negative magnet. Throw in the fact that only one player needs to own a copy for both to play the game online with a friend, called the Friend Pass, and these two games are some of the best co-op games out there. I can't wait to see what Joseph Fares, the founder of Hazelight Studios, does next. Army of Two. I died a little inside the day EA finally turned the servers off for this franchise. If there was ever a game that you absolutely had to play the game in co-op for a better experience, this was it. I still remember when I first saw the trailer of it back in, I think it was 2007. It was one of two trailers I watched on repeat. This and the Spider-Man 3 movie trailer. To play this game again in online co-op would be a blessing. Commanding the AI to do a specific task just isn't very intuitive and is incredibly inconsistent. However, having your real-life friend watch your back is a whole nother ballgame. Coordinating with your friend on when to open fire and provide cover, to trigger the game's unique aggro system while you sneak around and approach for a better angle to win a fight, going down and having your friend drag you to safety while you shoot enemies with your pistol, praying you both make it to cover in time, helping each other by boosting the other one up to higher ledges to get a better vantage point to shoot down. The possibilities are endless in this trilogy. Just like Gears of War, the game also forces you to sometimes split up, and it breaks up the gameplay a bit of no longer having your partner around to help or be used as a crutch. It's a shame the Devil's Cartel bombed so bad that we're probably never going to get another game in this franchise again. That and the fact that they ruined Salem's character. Unforgivable.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
Halo. It's hard to think of co-op and immediately not think of Halo. This is the franchise that pretty much introduced first-person shooters to console players and gave us split-screen co-op and multiplayer on the comfort of our couch. From driving around on Halo and Combat Evolved, to peeking around corners in Halo 2, to then yell at your buddy who got picked off by a jackal sniper so your checkpoint gets reverted, all the way through Halo Infinite, where you grapple swing around the semi-open world map like Spider-Man with your best friends. No game does co-op quite like Halo does, whether it be split screen, online, or playing the games again for the 100th time. It never gets old when you're playing with friends. And that is my list. Sorry if it's not as good as some of my other videos, or if it took too long to do. I was pretty badly sick with a high fever. I'm still a little bit right now, and I couldn't find the time to really work on this proper or get my thoughts together more coherently, but I tried. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and liking my videos. It truly means the world to me. Talk to you next time.